I'm making a house of cards and it's a really delicate job and needs a lot of attention. And there we go. Making a house of cards is always fun. Let's build one together. I wonder if we can find out the number of cards we need for this. But how do we do this? We don't even know how big our house of cards is going to be. But hey, have you noticed a pattern in this? To make this house of cards, we are creating the English letter V, but inverted. We can add more cards to form more V's for our house of cards. Each V is made of 2 cards. So 1 V takes 2 cards. 2 we take 4, 3 takes 6, and 4 V's take 8 cards. Can you see this is a repetitive pattern? So, for any number of V's, we need double the cards. For the first row, we need 2 cards for each V. Let's keep this aside for a while and move to the next row. As we move up to the second row, we see that instead of V's, we form triangles. And for that, we need 3 cards each. Now, can we use the same trick to find the number of cards needed to form these triangles? Let's see. To make an inverted V, we need 2 cards. But to make a triangle, we need 3 cards. So, the number of cards will be 3 times the number of triangles. If we require 7 triangles to make a house, how many cards would we need? The answer is 3 times 7, that is 21. Awesome! But as we thought earlier, we don't know how big our house of cards is going to be. Now imagine, you can put in any value in place of the number of triangles to get the required number of cards. But we don't know what value to put in there, as we don't know how many triangles we are making. Should we put 5 or 6 or any other number? But a number represents a value that is fixed. We need something to which we can assign any value to meet our requirements. Something representing the number of triangles. How about we use a symbol or a letter? Let's say n represents the number of triangles. Then the rule for the number of cards can be written as the product of 3 and n. In the same way, let's say m represents the number of V's. Then, according to the rule, the number of cards required to form any number of V's can be written as a product of 2 and m. Now, we can put any values in the place of n and m like 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. This means that values of n and m are not fixed. They can take any value. So, these figures or symbols like n and m are called variables. A variable is something that can vary or change. The value of a variable is not fixed. We can assign any value to it. To represent a variable, we generally use small letters such as n, m, x, y, z, etc. On the other hand, numbers like 1 or 50 or the number of angles in a triangle or the number of sides of a quadrilateral are fixed. And they have fixed values. So, they are not considered as variables. We have done normal arithmetic calculations that involve addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. But when we are dealing with numbers and variables together, a different branch of mathematics comes into play. This is known as algebra. In algebra, we use unknown quantities in the form of variables to understand and solve real-life problems. Hey, can you see this interesting pattern of matchsticks displayed over here? Can you guess how many matchsticks I would have used to make this pattern of boxes? But for that, we need the number of boxes. right? That is where algebra comes into play. We can say that the number of boxes is n. Now, let's figure this out. First, let's take one matchstick. If I add 3 matchsticks to it, like this, we get our first box. And 3 more, like this, we get our second box. Like that, we need 3 matchsticks more for every box that we add. So, for every box, we need 3 matchsticks, and only for the first box, we need 1 extra matchstick. So for n boxes, we will need 3 into n plus 1 matchstick. So now we can understand and represent patterns even when we have some unknown information in it, just by using algebra. Now I'm going to make a house of cards. Meanwhile, why don't you try finding patterns around you? And remember, we stay curious.